whenever there's a significant shift in the way that people communicate, and I'm talking about on the level of the alphabet, the printing press, the assembly line, when something along that magnitude comes into the lives of human beings, radical things are going to happen in the way that business is done and the way that humans interact. And we are at one of those points in time right now.
Of all of these elements, which one do you think would concern an institution the most?
Shift of power.
Shift of power. This is what this is all about, and this is why we're trying to change the focus of the MCDM somewhat, because it really is. We had a great conversation about this, but I agree with John. It is revolutionary. It is a completely different way to communicate, and that change in communication is changing the power structures as well. We're still in the early days, and we don't know where it's heading, but it is changing.
Well, my name is Hanson Hossain. I'm the director of the Master Communication in Digital Media program at the University of Washington. I'm also a professor of multimedia storytelling. If you want to effectively communicate in this new era of digital media, it's really important that you find a way for your message to cut through the noise. And to me, there's no better way to do that than to tell a proper story. And so this class that we taught in multimedia storytelling was about using very simple consumer-grade tools to make that story heard.
Accessible technology.
Yes. Yes.
And we thought that was an important part. I think, am I representing directors well?
I agree, but it has to be, I think the class is saying it has to be accessible flipped technology.
Even for stills.
Yeah.
Like no cell phone cameras.
It's really challenging to focus on what's most important in a story. I used to work with the Entourage. I worked at NBC News where it would cost you $20,000 out the door before you even shot a frame of video because you had all the people gathering sound and everything else. This says anybody can tell the story, and let them tell the story, and let this be the unobtrusive visual pen and paper to get that story, instead of worrying about all the buttons and the focus and everything else, and not letting this actually change the nature of the story. I always found that when you had those big cameras that news crews use in interviews, that just changes how people talk to you. But if you've got this, and you're in an intimate setting, and you're just really focused on your interview subject, and you just happen to be holding this like this, they forget about that. And then it's all about you. And I think you get more intimate, subjective, maybe authentic sound than you normally would with the big camera. So to me, that's revolutionary. And I believe that really informs the way we should be telling stories now. And the fact that we get teenagers to grandparents now wanting to tell those stories, and they can on YouTube, it's really important that even us as professionals, and I'm a professional, and some of the people in my class were professionals, they need to understand that as well. It's not the rule of the professional anymore. It's the rise of the amateur, and we better understand how amateurs function with this stuff.